Slavery is back.
Welcome to a place where private business profit from a captive labour force, yet pennies are spent on medical services to a population in which the Indigenous, the poor and the mentally ill are overrepresented. Where isolation, humiliation and degradation are facts of life. Welcome to prison.
It depends who's telling the story, I suppose. The prisoners would have one view, the people who work in the prison system would have another, and I think it's up to people to decide where the truth is.
Give government propaganda and the media spin doctors the flick. And check out Doin Time for news, views and tunes on prison issues from Guantanamo Bay to Christmas Island to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin Time show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. And a warning that this episode of Doin Time contains audio images of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have died and graphic discussion of deaths in custody and massacres. Joining us on the show is Keith Munro, Aboriginal Co-Chair, Friends of Myall Creek Memorial National Committee. And last week we interviewed Bo Spearham, who is the speaker for the Myall Creek Memorial this year. Keith is the grandson of Uncle Lyall Munro Senior, and he has also done some fantastic work in regards to artistic programs as well. We will then bring you an interview with Redfern Community Legal Centre's Senior Police Accountability Solicitor, Samantha Lee, about a landmark strip search class action that will challenge the legality of strip searches conducted by New South Wales Police at music festivals over a 6-year period. Last week I interviewed Nina Story, who has exited prison, and we spoke to her about strip searches of women in prison. I'm now delighted to welcome Keith onto the show to talk about the Myall Creek Massacre and also to publicise a very special annual memorial. Each year, hundreds of people from across the country gather on the Sunday of the June long weekend to commemorate the unprovoked massacre of at least 28 Wirra women, children and old men by a group of stockmen on Myall Creek Station in 1838. The Myall Creek Memorial on the Barradilungara Road near Baringa was erected in June 2000 by a group of Aboriginal and non-Indigenous people working together in an act of reconciliation. In 2008, the massacre site and memorial were included on the National Heritage Register and also received New South Wales State Heritage listing in 2010. And I'm going to be speaking to Keith about all this and more, and he will give us directions also about how to get to the memorial and hopefully give us a lot of detail about the massacre itself. Hi Keith, welcome.
Yeah, I'm Marisa. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you're a bit unwell, I feel.
Yeah, recovering from the recent bout of COVID, so getting there slowly. But I'm glad to be joining you on your show today.
Very happy to have you. Now, Keith, year in, year out, we've been interviewing about the massacre, the Myall Creek Massacre, and there's been the memorial. Can you tell listeners, particularly because there may be new people joining us, can you talk to us about the Myall Creek Massacre and the upcoming memorial?
Sure. So every year over the long weekend in June, the Myall Creek Committee holds a commemoration to pay our respects to one of the most significant massacre events to happen in our national narrative. on the 10th of June 1838, a group of stockmen led by a free man led an unprovoked but premeditated act against at least 28 Wirraway men, women and old men. It was the only time in our history where non-Aboriginal people were arrested and brought to trial in a court of law. They were let off in that first trial. It was the quick actions of the chief prosecutor at the time, George Plunkett, who arrested 7 of the 11 accused from the first trial, and they participated in the second trial, were found guilty and hung. So it is the only time in our history where colonial justice it seemed to be doing the right thing in regards to the treatment of Aboriginal people as the frontier spread across the country. And we come together over the June long weekend to remember the descendants of those people and the living survivors of those people in 2024.
So it's really about truth-telling about a side of Australia that's been left out of the history books. Can you comment on that?
Well, exactly. We as a country do really well at getting behind our national stories. We are a sporting nation. We love our sport. We get behind our national teams. We have an affiliation with the underdog in those stories, but there are some aspects of our shared history where we've struggled to deal with the trauma of it. This particular massacre story is significant in many ways, but it's not uncommon in regards to the massacre story of this country and the untold histories and stories of Aboriginal people as the colonial expansion sort of swept from the east coast to the west coast. The commemoration, I suppose, is an opportunity for us all to come together. Descendants of the victims and survivors, descendants of the perpetrators, descendants of those who were part of the judicial story of those two court cases, and remember, with a great deal of sadness, and reflect on that story and the importance of truth-telling within the community and the people that gather every year. I think is also a significant part of that healing journey for a lot of people. It's an opportunity for us all to acknowledge the truth-telling of our massacre story, but also an opportunity for us all to participate in a gathering where there's a sense of coming together and feeling as if we're able to do that in 2024.
Yeah, and Keith, I really appreciate you coming onto the show despite you having COVID, and I wish you a very safe recovery as well. Are you still happy to continue?
Yeah. Yep.
So happy that you're here. I mean, the Myall Creek Massacre, and I think you touched on this, is unique, isn't it? Because it's the only time when non-Aboriginal people were tried in a court of law, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, we've spent the last 24 years, I suppose, building a greater awareness of that story, not just locally throughout the northern tablelands, New England, northwest slopes and plains area of New South Wales, but developing ways to engage a broad audience. We have amazing support from local schools and interstate schools that travel, great distances to participate in the memorial every year, Marisa.
Good.
We have an art competition, a schools and student art competition that is themed every year. There's a number of really amazing awards that get handed out every year to engage, the younger demographic and the school cohort around the Myall Creek story. There's an incredible partnership that we've had with the University of New England that sort of helps build the weekend program out over a 2 or 3 day period. So visitors who are travelling up for the memorial are able to participate in a number of things, not just the memorial event that takes place on the Sunday of the June long weekend. So we're really happy with that, and we're really grateful for the support that we've received from the local community and interstate travellers who have gotten behind us, for the last 24 years to build an awareness of this story.
Absolutely. Who was the speaker last year, Keith, at the memorial?
The speaker last year was Richard Trudgeon.
Oh, yes.
Who's the author of the well-known book While Warriors Lie Down and Die. Richard is a fluent Yolngu speaker from northeast Arnhem Land. He's spent many years building those relationships with local mob up there. We were really happy to have him accept the invitation to be guest speaker last year. We were also really excited that Bo Spearham, young Gomeroi and Murray Murray, passionate podcaster and local activist, has been able to accept our invitation to be the guest speaker this year. And I understand he did pop on your show last week, another yarn?
Yeah, he did. It was really lovely. He came on and spoke a lot about activism and the podcast and giving a background to the massacre map. And we also paid tribute to Lyall Ryan as well, who passed away recently.
Yeah, that was a very sad, huge loss, for that story. Lyall had spent her lifetime, very passionate person, passionate about the history of this country and shedding the light and documenting the unknown histories of frontier violence and the massacre story. And yeah, she's a massive loss. Not just from the committee's perspective, but for the unrecognised dedication that she's had to frontier history, and yes, she'll be sadly missed, Lyall.
Yeah, and you're a descendant, aren't you, of the massacres, of people that massacred Myall Creek?
Yeah, I'm a descendant of the victims and survivors. The memorial's an opportunity for us to, I suppose, reflect on the history. I never cease to be amazed by the turnout of younger people to the memorial every year. All the schools that attend Lyall from Queensland, the ACT, all over areas of New South Wales. And to keep in mind that those Queensland schools are actually on holidays next week.
Yeah.
So they're giving up their time to travel down to not just attend the memorial, but also participate in the memorial. As guests are walking along the memorial path, that path is lined with memorial plaques that tell the story of the massacre. And we have students that read those plaques out as people make their way down to the Memorial Rock. And it's just so amazing to see, school kids from Queensland and the ACT and hopefully Victoria this year, as well as, coastal New South Wales and a large number of schools from the area, line that path to be part of that shared community of truth telling. And I think that's one of the biggest sort of thrills I get being able to attend every year. Knowing that there is a passion for that younger demographic to want to know the history of this country, all of its history, not just some of its history. And I think that's the only way we will create a more mature country, if we're able to have those conversations in a culturally safe space that is defined by the pillars of respect and common courtesy, common decency, humanity, and we're able to recognise the destructive way and the imbalance in which some of those histories have continued to affect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today.
Absolutely. And I also was, I think I may have seen it on TV sometime, at the documentary about how some people, I think it might have been on NITV actually, where you had some people that attended the memorials over the years that were descendants of the people that had massacred the colonial settlers. Is that right? No, that might have been another one, actually.
There has been a number of different stories that have been developed, the sort of that arc of that massacre story has been it has been captured and told in different formats as well. It might have been, Marisa, I'm not too sure. Yeah,
I think from my recollection it might have been touched on, but I don't want to talk about it in detail. I just wanted to mention it, that's a wonderful thing, isn't it, when you've got Indigenous and non-Indigenous people getting together who are both descendants.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in awe of a number of members in my family that have showed us a path forward. I mean, you're talking about a pretty traumatic event, and I have been fortunate enough to have been able to follow that path that have been created by my aunt and my grandfather, walking with descendants of the perpetrators and community members who are passionate about bringing about change, starting a conversation with Australians around this story. And it has built and grown and developed into a program over a 3-day period from an initial 1-day event. It creates spaces where people can be part of a community of visitors who are coming along to share their common humanity and respect and need to acknowledge a wrong that happened in our collective history, and I think it is a pathway for the nation to be able to deal with, and I think that's something that I think gives not just me strength, but also other members of my family and community strength as well. Because the ongoing intergenerational trauma is a very real thing, and we struggle. Governments struggle addressing that. We see the constant reporting and the closing the gap, and the areas where some of those gaps have not closed or they've closed very little, and I think our massacre story and our massacre history needs to be central to how we bring people together in order to move forward. And I think that's one of the great things about the memorial. We're able to do that in a safe space, led by the Aboriginal community, and bringing everyone together on that path, and hopefully creating a better future for our kids.
Very important. So, Keith, I'm wondering if you could just tell us the dates of the memorial and the anniversary and how people can get there and the address.
Okay, so the Memorial Day is actually on Sunday the 9th of June. It will take place at the Myall Creek Massacre Memorial site, which is on the Bingra to Dalunga Road. It's about 25 kilometres drive from Bingra. There will also be events taking place in Bingra on Saturday the 8th of June at the Ceramic Break Sculpture Park. And we also have an event that is held at the University of New England Legal Centre in Armidale. That'll be taking place on Friday, the 7th of June, where our guest speaker this year, Bo Spearham, will be participating in a symposium at the Urala Centre at the University of New England. That'll be kicking off on the 7th of June from 10 a.m. till 3. And then we've got the schools competition that this year's theme is 65,000 Years of Awesomeness. Let's celebrate. All of the winners from this year's student art, writing and song competition will be announced on the memorial date on the Sunday the 9th out at the memorial site. The memorial will actually be kicking off at about 9 o'clock. All people are welcome, and your guests are more than welcome to jump on our website as well, Marisa, for more information.
Thank you very much, Keith. And also, I should have actually have done this at the beginning, but it's still okay. If you could just tell listeners what land you're from.
I'm a proud descendant of the Gomeroi Nation from northwest New South Wales, southwest Queensland.
Keith, it is so wonderful to have you back. I really enjoy our chats, and I hope to meet you sometime. But are there any final comments that you wanted to make during this interview about the memorial?
Just that the memorial is celebrating its 24th anniversary this year. It came together following a meeting in 1998 that included the passionate local members of the local community, descendants of the victims and descendants of the perpetrators of the Myall Creek Massacre. We have worked really hard over the last 24 years to find a way through this significant event that has impacted so greatly on the Gomeroi Nation, particularly the descendants of those that were connected to the people that were just so poorly treated on that day, on the 10th of June 1838. But I really would like to invite all of your listeners to attend the memorial if you're able to. Jump on our website if you're interested in finding out more information about the memorial and the work that we do, and I suppose provide a space where there's a conversation starter amongst your listeners around their coffee table, around the dinner table, around the workplace, so they're able to know a bit more about the history of Myall Creek, but also the history of the community in which they live and work and drive and travel through, so that we are able to be a more matured nation when it comes to the discussion of this type of story and how we can come together and move forward as one.
I hope so, Keith. And that's a lovely note to end on. And thank you so much for coming on the program. I suppose one last comment I wanted to make is that the frontier wars need to be acknowledged and honoured.
Yeah, they do. They do. I mean, we have institutions, state and national institutions, that talk to many aspects of our colonial and recent history. But we do struggle, I suppose, comprehending the rich, deep, ongoing connection Aboriginal people have with our country. You know, that those stories, those sites, those songlines, those water waves, all have a story. And some of that story is a happy story, some of it is a sad story, some of it, you know, is a restricted story, some of it is, you know, it's a story for everyone. But unless we get to understand just a little bit the rich knowledge that is held within Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander knowledge systems in this country, I think we fail to grasp the uniqueness of where we live, where we work, because our country is a pretty ancient one, and we have, you know, many stories that, you know, Aboriginal people should be able to tell and share, and I suppose for people to understand, you know, there's beauty in that. If we're able to work out a way to come together with respect more often.
Absolutely. And sending out also a special cheerio to Richard, who's also been on this show as well, talking about languages, and also cheerio to Joe, who helped organise this interview.
Yeah. Thanks, Marisa.
Thanks a lot. All right, Keith, you take care.
Same. Charles, look forward to catching up with you at some point.
Good on you. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yellow.
Absolutely. Bye. And that was Keith Munro, Aboriginal Co-Chair, Friends of Myall Creek Memorial National Committee. Today's interview is a continuation of the Myall Creek Massacre and upcoming memorial. And stay tuned for the next interview soon. And I'm going to be playing something about Radiothon, which is coming up. And indeed our show, Radiothon show, is coming up on Monday. $950 is our target.
.3CR Radiothon fundraiser, June 2024.
From Palestine to Kashmir, from Tibet to Western Sahara, people are fighting against occupation, colonization, and the denial of their fundamental rights.
The overwhelming majority of crew that's getting arrested are American Jews. They're using their privilege to defend their Palestinian and Muslim siblings. That's what solidarity looks like.
We are with you and you are with us, and they do not anticipate and they are completely fearful of this level of solidarity.
3CR, sound on for solidarity.
We need your support to keep radical voices and issues on the airwaves.
Donate online at 3cr.org.au.
And you're back with the Doin Time show. And next up, we're going to be speaking with Samantha Lee, who's been on this show a few times. I've really enjoyed interviewing her. Samantha Lee is the Senior Police Accountability Solicitor at Redfern Community Legal Centre. And I'm going to be speaking with Sam about the landmark strip search class action that will challenge the legality of strip searches conducted by New South Wales Police at music festivals over a 6-year period. And indeed, I'm going to be talking to Sam quite a lot about strip searches in general. Last week, I actually interviewed Nina Story, who is a woman who's exited prison, and we spoke to her about lived experience and looked at the joint submission with Flat Out and the Human Rights Law Centre in Victoria and spoke about strip searches in prison. But with Sam, we will extend that discussion to look at police and the landmark class action. Hello, Sam. Welcome to the program.
Oh, hi. Good to be back on again. Thank you.
Lovely to have you. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes. Always something new coming up, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, Sam, would you be able to just talk to us about strip searches in general and provide us with some background about what's going on with the class action?
Yeah, so we commenced a campaign around strip searches back in 2019 after discovering that a number of our clients were subjected to a strip search by police. After a fair bit of research, we formed the view that the strip searches police were undertaking were in the majority unlawful because police were not and still aren't meeting the high legal threshold to conduct a strip search. And what we've seen really that's occurred over the years is that a strip search has morphed to be part of just a general search, which is unlawful, and which is why we have commenced a class action against New South Wales Police.
Absolutely. And so I understand that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have been affected and impacted, as well as other marginalised community members.
Yeah, the statistics around First Nations people are horrendous and really disproportionate compared to the percentage of the population. So we recently put out a report in regards to the strip searching of children and found that over a 7-year period, just close to 1,600 children had been strip searched by New South Wales Police, and First Nation children represented around 46% of all of those children who had been strip searched. So the figures alarmingly highlight that strip searching has impacted the most and continues to impact the most on First Nations people.
Indeed. And so what this media release on the 24th of May, I believe it's looking at a landmark class action. Are you able to talk about that?
Yes, certainly. So Redfern Legal Centre has partnered with a larger law firm by the name of Slater and Gordon to lodge a class action in the New South Wales Supreme Court. The class action is against the New South Wales government, a police, for undertaking what we say to be hundreds, possibly even thousands of unlawful strip searches against people in New South Wales. So that action was launched in February, not last year, the year before, and it's gone through the Supreme Court process. The government has fought the claim quite rigorously and had tried to stop the claim in the courts, but the judge has found that the claim should continue to go ahead and is a class that can go ahead. So we have been allocated a hearing date for that class action, which is May next year. So anyone, unfortunately it's just New South Wales based, but anyone in New South Wales who has been strip searched by New South Wales Police over the past 6 years, unfortunately it is just at a type of music festival, but that's quite a wide definition of what that festival means. So it could be just a very casual festival up to a well-organised music festival, can join the class action and be part of the action in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, this is still really important. I mean, it's because this doesn't just affect people in prison, and certainly I'm not saying that women in prison aren't important, and it's a terribly awful situation in there but it extends. I think what's bad is it extends to the community as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, police powers are leading out, which means that they keep getting wider and less accountability. And what is unlawful under the law is not being monitored by the government, and so police are using wider and wider powers in situations where they're not allowed to do so. But unless it is called out, it goes unnoticed, and police often feel like they are operating in a vacuum. And it's not until you have organisations like Redfern or other great legal centres that call out police behaviour that suddenly there is attention on very poor policing practice.
That's right, and so I suppose it's interconnected, isn't it? So you've got our prisons, and then you've got the police powers that are impacting on the community as well, and particularly young people at music festivals.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the really important thing I tell people is that police powers are limited, although it doesn't feel like that on the ground. But the powers are limited by legislation, by what we call standard operating procedures and policy and guidelines. So although it may not assist people at the time when they interact with police, they can seek advice from a community legal centre or legal aid and find out whether police have operated beyond those powers. And if they have, it can have impact on a charge in the criminal court in some circumstances, or it can allow that person to seek damages against the police for unlawful power used.
And yet, the setting of the trial date follows an attempt by the New South Wales government's legal representatives to have the case thrown by filing an unsuccessful application. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so during a class action proceeding, the other side has the option to put on an application called a declassing application. And that means what they argue before the court is that this is not a class of people. It's a group of people who have individual, very different set of circumstances that are not common enough to be a class. And what the judge needs to decide is whether the claims by the group of people are common enough in circumstances and factors, legal factors, to be a class of people rather than run as every individual case. So it's a tactic by the other side to try and get rid of it as a class action in itself. Even though we do have a hearing date, the other side will try other tactics to make it difficult for this class action to seek the damages it's seeking. So we just have to continue on and see if we can get them to a point where they either decide that they don't have a strong case and will try and mediate the situation.
You know, it's so disgusting. I mean, strip searching is so invasive and harmful. It's a disgusting practice, and there really needs to have been other things like scanners employed for this type of thing.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, in the majority of situations where police do undertake strip searches, in their records, it shows that the reason why they are conducting a strip search in the first place is to search for minor drug possession. Now, part of our class action is that we are saying is that the mere suspicion of minor drug possession is not in itself enough to conduct a strip search. In fact, it may not even require general search, that you can't ask a child or an adult to take off all their clothes, stand naked in front of adults in a strange environment, because they may have 1 or 2 tablets of MDMA or a bit of cannabis. That was not the intention of the legislation, to subject people to this type of invasive practice for that very minor criminal potential offence.
Indeed, and I think that there's a lead plaintiff. Is that right?
That's right, yes. She was subject to quite a horrific strip search at a music festival, and she has come forward as our lead plaintiff in this class action. It was very traumatic for her. She was at a festival and then made to go into an area where a full-body strip search was conducted on her. There was a male officer who viewed what had occurred. It left her feeling incredibly traumatised, and she wants this action to put an end to this form of invasive practice that's happening still across New South Wales and in other jurisdictions in Australia.
Absolutely. And in fact, Slater and Gordon lawyers and Redfern are jointly running the class action, isn't it, on behalf of hundreds of other festival goers who allege their strip searches by police between 2016 and 2022. Is that right?
That's right. And if people want to sign up for the class action, they can do so. It's either, there's a link on our website at rlc.org.au, or you can go to the Slater, just Google Slater and Gordon strip search class action, and it'll take you to the registration page. So it's still up for registration, and yes, people that have been subjected to a strip search. Let me just remind people what a strip search is. It's not
please.
just the fact that police may have asked you to take off all of your clothing. A strip search could be that police has asked you to take off your T-shirt and leave your pants on, or they've pulled out the back of your pants and looked into your underwear, or for women they've pulled out the front of your T-shirt and looked into your bra or breast area. That is still a strip search. So you don't have to have been directed to take off all of your clothing. You could have been directed just to take off a piece of clothing, or police may have looked into your inner clothing or underwear.
Thank you so much for telling us that definition. Now, I just wanted to ask you a question about the media release before you go, where it talks about how the class action is being run, and then it says constituted unlawful acts including assault, battery and false imprisonment. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so when police use a power unlawfully, let's take, for example, that police stop a person in the street, they can't leave, they are detained there by police. Police conduct a search on them. They don't have any reasonable suspicion to conduct that search. They then leg sweep that person and slam their head on the ground, for example, and then put them in the back of a paddy wagon and take them to the police station. That whole incident has a range of damages that could be attached to it. The fact that the person was made to stay there and was not allowed to leave in itself can constitute under the law, under a civil law, what's called false imprisonment, because they're not allowed to leave. The fact that they were leg swept by police would constitute an assault, and if they were handcuffed by police as well, it could also constitute a battery. So there's different types of names for damages depending on the action that you can claim against police for that unlawful behaviour, because in that situation we may have found that police did not have the power to either stop the person or search them, or let alone use force on them. All those behaviours by police are found to be unlawful, and a monetary value is attached to the form of damage that is caused by that practice.
Thank you so much for describing that. And it's interesting here, I don't think the police are going to do this, but It appears that in addition to the trial date being set, that Justice Garling has ordered that police produce the contact details of everyone searched by police at relevant music festivals so that they can be informed about their rights. Do you, do you really think that the cops are going to do that?
Well, the court does have power to enforce that, and under class action, the other side is required to provide the details of the people that may form part of the action. So they might fight it, but luckily the court does have the last say when it comes to that matter. The Supreme Court has some wide-ranging powers, and it can ensure that that order is complied with by the other side.
You've actually given us some very concise details about damages and how to seek those damages, so I want to thank you for that. I mean, I'm looking forward to the court determining important legal issues, and so that people can be properly compensated.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be a landmark case if this were to succeed, and it really will shine a light on a horrific long-term police behaviour that has been allowed to fester for many years. And I really hope it puts an end to this harmful and invasive practice.
I hope so, because there are so many systemic issues. I mean, we don't have time to talk about racial unconscious bias with racism today, but there is just so much to talk about, isn't there, Sam?
Oh, yes. It's a show in itself, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming onto the program. Are there any final comments that you'd like to make before we finish?
All the comments, I think, are that, police can be brought to account, although it's not easy. It can be done. Let's keep doing it.
Absolutely. Good on you, Sam. Thanks so much. And anybody that wants to have a look, to contribute and join the class action, because it is indeed a class action, what's the website there again, Sam?
rlc.org.au.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Samantha Lee, and Samantha Lee is from the Redfern Community Legal Centre, and she's the Senior Police Accountability Solicitor. It's approximately 4:47, and stay tuned for the Doin Time show.
They knew that it would be a rise in the prison population, which really equates to a rise in deaths in custody. They knew this.
These issues in prisons have been going on for so long and are really contributed to by systemic racism and by, the violence of the prison system itself.
It's just ridiculous. The things are 92% of Aboriginal women in prison and more than 70% of Aboriginal men incarcerated in Victoria have a mental health issue that's not being addressed.
The system seems to have this whole view that you're just a prisoner, you're just a number, you got no right to pretend to be a victim of circumstance, or you've got no right to have an emotion or have a feeling.
3CR is your station in solidarity and struggle. We've been here since 1976 and we're here to stay.
3CR Radiothon 2024. Sound on for solidarity.
We need the financial support of our listeners to stay independent, community-owned and radical.
To donate, call 03 9419 8377 or donate online at 3cr.org.au.
Wondering how to pay your donation to 3CR Radiothon? It's easy. You can pay online at 3cr.org.au or call us any weekday with your credit card details on 03 9419 8377. You can also come into the station at 21 Smith Street, Fitzroy during office hours and pay by cash or card. or simply post your cheque or money order to PO Box 1277, Collingwood 3066. And be sure to tell us which program you'd like your donation to go to.
3CR Radiothon 2024, Sound On for Solidarity.
What have you got to be sad about? It might not seem like much, but I'm crying now. Oh, I had you then. Somehow I've got tears now. Don't tell me what I should be feeling now. Don't ask me to smile. That might take me a little while. I feel better, but I don't feel good. I feel better, I don't feel good. What have you got to be sad about? It might not seem like much, but I'm hurting now. Oh, thanks a lot for telling me how I should feel. I see you love sad girls, we've got sex appeal. Don't ask me to smile. That might take me a little while. I feel better, but I don't feel good. I feel better, but I don't feel good. I feel better, but I don't feel good. I feel better, better, better. I feel better, but I don't feel good. 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 I feel better. For a while, you used to make me smile.
And this is the Doin Time show, 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial. And it's approximately 4:53. We're nearing the end of our show. And that was a song by Alice Skye, beautiful Aboriginal musician. And the song is called I Feel Better, But I Don't Feel Good. So wanted to thank our guests for coming onto the show. We brought you 2 extended interviews, one with Keith Munro talking about Myall Creek Massacre and the upcoming memorial. And then we also spoke with Samantha Lee from Redfern Community Legal Centre, Senior Police Accountability Solicitor, speaking about strip searches and police powers. So it's approximately 4:54. Take care of each other. We're going to be going out now with our theme song, Black Fella, White Fella by the Rumpy Band. And see you next Monday. Every Monday from 4 to 5 for the Doin Time show. But in particular, see you on Monday, which is the Doin Time Radiothon show. Our target is $950, and we're going to be having some very special guests on the show and lots of showcasing of our work. Donate to all shows at 3CR, and it's goodbye from Marisa, and stay tuned for the Doin Time show. Thanks so much. Take care. Be kind to each other.
As long as you a true fella, as long as you a real fella. All the people of different races with different lives in different places. It doesn't matter what your name is. We got to have lots of changes. We need more brothers if we're to make it. We need more sisters if we're to save it. Are you the one?